It's that time again for EQ Nexus Presents Into the Portal, an EverQuest Next podcast. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Hello.
Here we are in our brand new Season 2 user interface thingy.
Yay.
Layout.
Yay.
Awesome.
Here we are. So
I can't see it.
And with it, I have a new hat. I'm not going to put it on. It doesn't really fit. But I do have another hat.
It exists.
It exists.
It matters.
Oh, now it finally came up. Hey, that interface is pretty snazzy.
pretty snazzy.
That's awesome.
At the Xbox One.
I like that we have the chat role as a guest now.
Yes, that's chat roll guest. He's a special guest tonight. Normally we wouldn't have chat roll guest, but we have an empty hole, and I didn't want to go ahead and redo another one.
You know,
Does that mean we're going to have another person?
We
I
have
really
room
like-
for them just
yeah.
in case.
I really like the text roll down there because we missed so much, like, exclusive stuff that Omeed is leaking in chat that we don't have, like, a permanent record of unless
That's the
anybody's
other reason I thought the chat roll would be nice, because then you can. It is in the video, and then people can see what Omeed was ranting about, talking about Locke and everything that we don't usually read. It might just go by.
Oh, he just gets drunk and mashes his hand on the keyboard.
He just face smash into the keyboard.
See, and then people are going to start recognizing the delta of a lag between when it goes by in text and when we actually see it.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah.
They'd be like, you guys read really slow. Well, we are all old, and we are neck-bearded old people.
Speak for yourself, all right?
Especially Tobin, man. He's like, what was it, 9 now?
8
9?
and a half.
Yeah.
They
So,
grow up socialist.
who here has seen The Hobbit?
I just saw that on Wednesday.
Wednesday?
Which one?
2.
Well, I watched
the
it
second
both,
one.
but yeah.
The Desolation of Smaug.
The one with, don't be shy.
You love Smaug voicing it. I think it's
Yeah.
Benedict
it's
Cumberbatch. Yeah.
It is.
Yeah, honestly,
He does.
anybody could have done it with all the filters and stuff. They could have gotten the dude who did Deckard Cain from Diablo. I'm sure he would have done even better. I would have loved that
It
voice.
had a lot of filterization to it. But, it's a dragon, for God's sake. So, of course.
Well, as Benedict Cumberbatch described it, a dragon porn star.
Yeah.
That was the way he described it.
I will not talk about the movie. I won't talk. Malice, I can't stand when people do that. I just wanted to ask if people had seen it yet. That's all.
We watched the first, we watched part 1, the extended version last night. So
Okay. And
Well,
are
we
you
haven't
planning
seen
to go see the part 2 then?
I will eventually. I know the story inside and out. It's just,
Without spoiling anything, that one fight scene that was full of shenanigans, I loved that. That was so well done.
The shenanigan fight scene. It is a middle movie though. It's kind of got that sort of transitional thing going on, like the Two Towers did. But I guess it won't be. I don't want to beat it up. It was good. I really had a good time. Very good movie. All right. So this is an extremely slow news week.
Yeah.
Yeah, Omeed has been on vacation and he hasn't really done much, and we don't have a new topic to talk about for the round table.
I have a question about that.
Yeah.
How many freaking vacations has that guy taken? Because wasn't it like 2 weeks before
He was on a
off
boat
on a
trip.
boat for like, what the hell? What does he get paid to go on vacation every 2 goddamn weeks? I want that job.
I know, right? All right. Somebody just said
Well, then
Jaffa,
fancy
so
that.
Tobran must eat one.
Okay. I have like 2 full tubs, okay? I can go on forever.
Look at him. There
Challenge.
he goes. Are they good? They're yummy?
Oh yeah, of
Of
course.
course they're good.
Why else would I be eating them? Like, come on.
There he goes. Eating the Jaffa. Okay. So we're going to try to stretch a little bit here. And we'll
Do we have to? I
No, we
mean,
don't have to.
we do it anyway. We don't have
Right,
to
right. So it's just gonna take it easy tonight, guys. Might not be a full 7.5 hour episode like usual, so
Yeah.
might only do 20 minutes. But there we go. Oh, legendary neurotoxin. We'll get to that in just a second.
Yeah, I was just getting the link out there.
Tobran, eat.
Wait, what? Why?
They said Jaffa again in chat.
It says every time it's said. Sorry, I'm expecting it's like spam.
This is going to be like the equivalent of a drinking game, except he's going to be like fat by the end.
Big and fat like the rest of us.
But that's not what he said. He said Jaffa, which is not the same thing.
Oh,
there it is.
Spit it out, Tobran.
Again.
Tobran, you're on +1 credit right now.
Well, actually, Fu just said Jaffa right there, so
okay,
you're good.
That clears it.
Yeah. All right. NDA woes. So 10-Ton Hammer and Shaylin the Super Druid just came out with 2 competing articles from different viewpoints. The 10-Ton Hammer basically saying that, hey, I'm paying a lot of money for alpha access. I want in. And when I get in, I want to be able to talk about it. And then Shaylin was basically saying, no, I think they're right by having an NDA. So I'm sure this is going to be a good discussion. Let's talk about it. Go.
I agree.
First, like the point of an NDA, if you've got something that's behind closed doors that you aren't showing around except for people who sign NDAs, and then they're not supposed to talk about it, that's one thing. They've been showing this off ever since they, put out the information at SOE Live. It's just been toted around here and there everywhere. It's the thing they're really proud of, this double feature, EverQuest Next and Landmark. We know what it is. We know what they're trying to do. We don't know all of the features. We don't know all of the content. So I can understand with all the content and stuff and all of the features still in flux right now, and probably the UI as well, that could be one reason why it's still under NDAs, because the things might change. They might change a little. They might change a lot. There's a good chance it'll actually change during the course of the alpha based on our input. So showing an early and unfinished product, I can understand not even wanting to leak that stuff out to begin with, but also not getting the idea in players and journalists' heads that this is what the game is going to be, when in 2 weeks everything can look completely different. Tobran, you look like you've got something to say.
No. Nothing.
He's got to say that he has to eat a Jaffa because someone just said it in the... He said Jaffas twice in the chat, so he might actually have to eat 2.
Oh, no. I think
I didn't.
You're not eating them correctly. Fu is very upset at you.
Okay, fine, I'll eat the next one correctly.
Okay.
I'm trying to remember how food
Filming.
It's weird. It's not...
Laughing.
Total eclipse.
Excellent. Oh, by the way, before we continue on with our NDA discussion, if you have questions, go ahead and write them in the chat, like Trendan just did there with the brackets around them. And I just said Jaffa, so I guess you have to eat another one. And
that was it again.
Yeah.
Who's collating the questions this week?
Maka is here this week, so hopefully Maka is...
Oh, I didn't even know. Hello.
Thank you, Maka.
Thank you, Maka, for being here and being our moderator and question gatherer. Because last week we just totally dropped the ball and we missed a ton of questions.
What kind of a harvesting tool does she use to gather these questions?
I don't know.
Standard reaping device.
A reaping device.
That sounds horrible.
just a standard, nothing fancy.
All right, so what else? Oh, back to the NDA. Sorry, my brain is all
NDA.
NDA. So I have the stance of the 10-Ton Hammer guy, and let me just give you my viewpoint on it, because that's why I'm here. I think that first off, paying for an alpha is like really it was just weird to even think of that. I never heard of that before. I'm sure other games have done it, but it would just sort of struck me as being weird. Sort of paying to get to play the game early is great, yes, but paying to get to test the game early is weird, in my opinion. And then on top of that, not being able to talk about or discuss publicly what we've seen in it, that's something that we paid for, and that's pretty much the feeling that the 10-Ton Hammer guy had was, well, we are going through all of this and we're paying the money to get in to play it. Why can't we show screenshots or just discuss what we think about it? Because ultimately an NDA is a form of protection, right? It protects Sony from other people getting and seeing the stuff ahead of time. But if it was a closed NDA, or it's not closed, it was a closed alpha or closed beta, where it was they invited you, Locke, to come and join, and you were invited specifically to be there,
What have you heard?
Well, I'm just saying. Basically, you'd be invited in. They would know Locke is not he does not work for Electronic Arts or some other company. So the chances are Locke wouldn't be able to leak the information out because he'd be protected by the NDA, or we would be protected by the NDA is what Sony would say. Right? So now we get into this, and basically anybody who has $100 or whatever can get into the game, and they can see exactly what's being done. So there is no real reason to protect anything, because anybody with $100 can get in. And if I work for EA and I wanted to find out how this game is being developed, I would pay the $100. It's cheap, and get in to play anyway. So that's what I think he was trying to say. Maybe he didn't say it as well. He sort of some people were saying it sounded like he was whining a bit, but I do kind of get the gist of what he was coming for. So what do you guys think?
I personally think that the nature of what an NDA has changed significantly. You know, in these days where YouTube is such a huge thing in terms of promoting games and development and live streaming as well. You know, Twitch has 45 million unique visitors a month now. You know, and I think it's much less about you know, controlling journalists, and it's much less about, you know, stopping other companies from getting in on it. You know, we're obviously past that stage now anyway. But you know, when people look up this game, they're going to look for players or people that they trust, and they're going to look for footage of them actually playing the game. And if the footage they find or the stream they find is day one, and you know, people can barely log in, or they can't get to the server that they want to, you know, that to me is potentially as if not more damaging, you know, to the potential success of EverQuest Next Landmark than another company getting to see how the building works at this late stage. And I think that public perception is going to be a huge part of the success. You know, whether people look at it and think, oh, it's just Minecraft but pretty, or, you know, if people see it in such a state that, you know, the potential of the game is evident, especially with it, you know, being a free-to-play game, so it's already got that kind of stigma. You know, they want it to look as polished as possible to the audience. And the whole thing about, you know, we should be allowed to talk about it. We are allowed to talk about it. You know, they've got alpha forums that you buy into it, you become an alpha, whatever that is, you know, in this context, where you become an alpha tester, and part of that is you're allowed to go into the forums and you're allowed to talk about your experiences with other people. It's just, you know, I totally get what Philip, you know, I'm not going to try pronouncing his last name, but I get where he's coming from as a journalist, as someone that makes their money from, you know, sharing their experiences of games. I totally understand that. But for the average player, or the average person that wants to support the game, and, you know, I've paid the $100, and because of that, you know, because not only do I believe in the project, but I want the project to be a success. And, you know, when they see those numbers coming in and all the money coming in from the people who are willing to, you know, back this in an almost, you know, just on faith, in an almost Kickstarter-like way, you know, shareholders see that, people higher up in Sony see that, and they say, look at all this interest that we've got for this game, look at all these people paying $100, like, just to get in a little bit early. And then that's when the higher ups go, oh, well, these numbers are very promising. Like, maybe we should give them a few more resources to build the game. Maybe we should let them have a little bit more time to get it really right and get it exactly how they want. I know, Trendane, go.
Sorry, it's nothing to do with that. It has nothing to do with that. I'm sorry. It's just watching Tobrin's face every time that damn word pops up.
He's like shoving these things in his face. He's gonna be puking by the end.
Probably.
You know, there's a point with drinking games where someone's just like drinking the whole damn bottle.
Yeah.
And it's just like, what do you want from me? Ah!
I like how everyone is listening to the audio. This could be wondering what the hell's going on.
But we do have the chat roll, so people can see the.
So they can hear the chat rolling by.
They can see it. They can read it.
My big point. I know I've gone on for too long already. But
no, I'm listening. It's yes.
My big point that I wanted to make was, like, as an alpha tester, what are you losing by not being able to talk outside of the alpha forums? for 99% of people who are
Well,
going to be
maybe
taking
99% of the people, yeah.
What are they losing?
But
the chance
Locke,
to put something up on Reddit?
Trendane, Tobrand, myself, we all make YouTube videos. And you know that...
Yeah, but we're the incredibly small minority.
Maybe. But I think it would be great if we could sort of have a way to cover this game earlier than the normal everyday people, because there are going to be people that are sitting on the fence waiting for some sort of coverage that's going to come out, and because I like to do things legal, and I know you guys like to do things legal, we're going to be sitting there waiting to release these videos for the game, whereas some guy who just doesn't give a damn is going to be making a ton of videos and probably getting his account banned, right? But he won't care because it's a free to play game, so in a month he'll be able to just jump back in it anyway with another account.
Well, yeah. That's, what we should do is we should stop all people doing bad things.
Yeah, that's a good goal.
That'll fix that problem.
I don't think we're going to be able to pull that off this year.
Oh, I mean,
Carbine have done a similar thing with WildStar. It's still under NDA, but they've allowed specific people to start streaming it and doing videos. Maybe it'll be.
Omeed, do not say Jaffa, because if you say Jaffa, every time the word Jaffa is said, Tobrin has to eat a Jaffa.
A what?
I got to see the stream just going horribly for me. I've already gone through like 10.
Very nice. He won't.
You don't even get to enjoy them because you have to eat them so
No,
fast.
because I'm just shoving them down because everyone keeps saying Jaffa.
You should be eating at least 5 right now.
Probably.
So, I guess Trendane would like to have some Java. So, Trendane, what is your thought on this? Because you worked in the industry. What is your thoughts on the NDA situation and early access and all that?
Druid solidarity.
You're going to stick with the Druid?
Not because she's a Druid, but just because, I'm firmly of the opinion that is the way. The NDA is there. It is for the greater good, as it were. That's not the way I want to describe it, but it is kind of a blanket thing. Like with WildStar, like what Locke was just saying, is that certain people have been allowed to do this, and my understanding of this, your $100 or however much it is allows you to play the game. That's the agreement that you're making, is that you're allowed to play the game. It makes no mention of being able to stream it or whatever, and it's not compulsory. You are not required to pay this money. I mean, it's a very optional thing. You don't have to go in there if you don't want to. Right. But one of the big things from my perspective, having done video game
development,
make it. Thank you, development.
Making things.
The game.
The makeification of games is that very, very true that things can change radically, and if you've got these, I mean, I'm going to fall back on Spore again. You go back to 2005, 2006. Look at the videos that Will Wright was showing of the creature creator and the little fish creature swimming around, and then look at the way the game came out. It completely and utterly different, and everyone was livid when they saw how it. No. It is far easier to just say, if you want new content, we will provide it. Once we have locked it down and we know what it is, we'll give it to you. We will allow you to see it. But until then, we just don't know what it is, and we don't want to have that happen to our game. So I have to side with her. Okay.
Fair enough.
It's absolutely valid. And it's another thing to consider as well. It's not like Sony aren't going to be releasing anything themselves. They still want to be pushing and promoting the game. They're just,
but
they want to protect their investment.
I guess, but let me just give it to you this way: if Sony were to open up the floodgates to say, go ahead and stream what you want, go ahead and make whatever videos you want, and put it out there. Think of all the thousands more people that will be producing videos and getting the word out there, how much more free promotion that is for them. Now, I'm sure that might come later on, and maybe when it becomes open, the game's just wide open, that'll help. But it sort of seems like the early adopters are the ones that are the most excited about it, would probably make really good quality content and be able to put it out there, so it would get them even more free publicity.
Yeah, but the game's not going away. It's not like the game's available for a month and then after that the door closes and no one else is allowed in. You know, it's a free-to-play game that's hopefully going to be running for a long time. And I think if anything with Landmark, they could probably do with a little bit more of a slow build, like, you know, if you'll pardon the pun. But you know, they want that small core group of very dedicated people in there to go in and really sort of push it to the limit and do what they can. But then you remember, they're going to be adding features in. They're going to be polishing and refining. They're going to be doing their own thing in there as well, running contests. And then that's how you sort of grow the player base of people that are interested. We've seen so many times, you know, these huge launches where games just get slammed with millions of people and then they all leave. And I tell you, like, nothing draws a crowd like a crowd, but nothing disperses a crowd like a crowd dispersing.
Yeah.
And for a
let's read
the opposite of what they want is a huge initial rush.
Let's read this real quick from Omeed before it rolls off the screen. We definitely feel the pain of casters related to NDA. For us too, we lose out on a lot of free marketing, but the NDA does a lot of good for the game. One internal argument that resonated with me was when you watch casters, you typically want to see people who are good at the game. No one is going to be good at alpha. And Legendary says the primary problem is that of the game is alpha. In alpha is buggy, unfinished, and not pretty, as it is intended to be. We know how important first impressions are, and when people are saying, "Oh my God, it's not finished," well, yeah, it's not finished.
Duh.
Yeah, but you know, I'm right now playing 30 Days of DayZ, and it's currently in alpha, and we are allowed to stream it.
The next point, the thing that is just put, but people who are not playing a lot, who are not paying a lot of attention, just hear the game isn't good.
Right.
That's all they hear. It's like they don't think, oh, it's not quite finished. Oh, it's not this. It's not that. It's not ready. It's in alpha. They just go, no, it's a train wreck, and that's all they care about.
All right.
It's the same with, you know, I read this thing, a little thing about, because it's Star Wars' second anniversary, and I was going on about what happened with them, how they had that huge slam of players. What made me think about it? There was this huge slam of players at the start. And then, you know, they were banking on the story to keep people engaged, but the hardcore don't care.
Right.
They go, bam, what's the most efficient route to max level? Right, I'm at max level. What do I do to gear up? And then they all gear up and they go, oh, there's nothing to do. You know, they've ignored 99% of the game on the way there. They've not read anything. They've not done anything. Like all of
I will admit, I was that way. I mean, not on purpose. I got in a guild.
I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it, but those people at the top, you know, those people that are, you know, the real kind of type A achievement focused gamer, they want to win they want to win and they want to be the first. If they're at the top and they're going, there's nothing to do, it's rubbish, we'll be moving on to something else. You know, it makes the game look bad, even if it isn't. You know, if those people are saying it, you know, that's all that people hear, and that becomes everyone's opinion of a game.
All right, Chaos Lord says, I was watching a video of that. It was like 3 hours long. An hour into, he hadn't fought anything. See, that's the deal. He's talking about DayZ, and I so far have streamed like 20 hours of DayZ.
So good. I love it.
It's so good. And people who just don't know are like Chaos Lord. Like, I'm watching somebody run and nothing's happening.
Yeah.
Because there's a meta game that's going on in there that is just beyond words, and you have to play the game to know it. So we won't go into that now. It's a different game. But anyway, Omeed another says, like, for everyone in this room, I wouldn't be worried about it. You all get it, I think. But if you're also watching a stream about an unreleased game, you're pretty engaged and passionate about our project. Right. Everybody here, we are the chosen few.
Except me.
Except Trendane. Because Trendane yet doesn't have it. Well.
No, I'm just a voice.
But then, you know, we
play
are
games. I just do voices.
We are the people here. I'd wager a fairly high percentage compared to the general population of the gaming community. You know, we're the ones that have the Trailblazer packs. You know, we're the people who are already on the alpha forums and, you know, talking about stuff. you know, and whether people like during the alpha, like, will be on those forums and we'll be discussing it, and Sony will continue releasing material, and we'll be in there and talking about it. And I know that it sucks for you personally, Demo, and I do kind of feel a bit bad for you, but you know, at the same time, it's if 99% of the community aren't going to be affected by it, you know, I think you kind of have to take.
I'm actually just playing devil's advocate for this. I do understand the legalities of it. I'm just, you know, I had to give everyone was like, oh no, this is good, and I was like, I want at least want to.
We have to have an opposing view.
Yeah, you have to have a conversation.
It is when you're talking about. I still don't know where I sit on this whole like pay to test thing. I don't consider it to be pay to test, but I think it's definitely something that can be abused in the way you remember, like sort of early free to play titles when you had the whole like difficulty with pay to win, and now, you know, with a lot of mobile games, they do a very gated content system where you basically have to pay to get past a certain point. And those are really bad, and I think at the moment we're in this area, we're in this region with like early access and with, you know, with pay to test situations where it's definitely something that can be abused by a certain developer, and Kickstarter as well. So I think, you know, I think it's definitely a grey area. I can understand why people are worried about it, why people are sort of defensive about it. But, you know, ultimately, we know it's going to be a very short test window because they've announced when the closed beta is going to start.
So for those of us,
eat your
Jaffas. So for those just joining us, this is EverQuest Next in the Portal, EverQuest Next discussion, and this is season 2. So we have a new UI here we're fiddling around with. The chat roll is in the window here. That's where we're gonna have a guest at some point. I think Omeed's gonna sit down there in that corner when he gets on the show. So you guys really haven't missed much. Kind of a slow week. Not much really going on. So we're gonna kind of make a shorter one tonight, I think, and. That's what we're going on about. We're talking about the NDA woes and all of that.
Wait a minute. If you put Omeed in that bottom little square down there, then what happens when Locke and Neurotoxin both go pee at the same time? It'll trickle down on his head.
Yeah, it does. Pee rolls downhill.
That's the plan.
Mm-hmm. And can we start a fundraiser to get dialysis for Tobrat?
Yeah, he's going to need it. He's going into a diabetic coma sometime tonight.
Yeah. He's young. He'll heal.
I have used that excuse more times than I can count, and it's not always true.
Oh yeah, and also why we're all laughing at Tobran is he has a Jaffa addiction, and every time somebody says Jaffa in either the show or on chat, he must eat Jaffas.
Hate you all.
And there's at least 7 ratings going by.
He's sitting there, he's not even reading, it's just eating more.
I haven't said it once, mister. Don't you start with me.
Omeed says he only takes the center square. That's why it's so big to fit your head. Right there in the middle. Jaffa the Hutt. Star Wars, a new Jaffa.
Nice.
See? And now he's passed up.
Yeah, this
would happen soon.
This could go on for a while. So, I guess the one other thing I would say about the NDA and such, maybe if things were phrased differently, if it was called exclusive premium early access instead of alpha, and then, you know, just exclusive early access for beta, and then at some point, you know, it transitions into closed beta or open beta. That might be a little easier to swallow. I don't know.
I think it's important that it's sort of recognized. You know, they want to call it an alpha because they want to, you know, they want to make it very clear that it's an unfinished product. And I think, you know, it'd cause even more problems if they said it was like, you know, just super early access. People would get in and go, "Oh, it's broken. I hate it."
I hated it. Oh, I mean, people say that to me all the time on my stream when I'm doing DayZ. They're like, "This game sucks. It's all buggy," and I'm like, "It's alpha." It says it's alpha in the beginning. It says, "Please don't pick on my game. It's alpha." It even says it when you first start.
My favorite guy in your stream was the one who seemed to confuse it with real life constantly.
What?
What was he saying?
Just everything he was saying. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Yeah. It doesn't matter.
All right, so moving on to topic number dos. The Ancestral Lineage. This is a tome of knowledge from Mr. Legendary Neurotoxin, who will try to briefly summarize it. into 1,000 words or less.
So this one, and I encourage everybody to read and comment on it. I just put it in chat there, link to it. The point of this one is to look at the way ancestral lineage can affect the player and or not the player, but affect the character, and either be a part of the character creation process or something that's revealed through gameplay, or some combination of the two. So it looks at different ways by which the ancestral lineage can either be established by the player, or otherwise systems that can be used where it can be either assigned to the player or randomly potentially have their ancestors' lineage kind of generated as they play the game, and as they do things, unlock events that kind of access that stuff. So there's a lot of different places where this can also interact with the various history Storybricks, and allow for a lot of interaction between relatives or friends or whatever who are represented as NPCs, who are also part of the same lineage or whatever, that they can act as mentors or even antagonists or whatever later on, if you're both trying to get some sort of fancy family heirloom. But then that's beyond just creating the character and having the aspects of it in the character, how it actually affects gameplay. It could be, the ancestral lineage could be inheriting some responsibility, like being the village, locksmith or whatever. But there's various different things that the lineage can provide or put into the game that would be exclusive to that character and that player's experience with that character. So the way the lineage actually plays out in the game, it really doesn't, as you're saying, Jeff, aren't you?
Wait, I'm sorry, we're all laughing. We're not laughing at you. I'm listening. We're just watching the fun.
So the way it plays out in the game,
is that what you want to call it?
is it's not just a unique experience, but it's meaningful and actually has impact and reverberations that will linger throughout the history of the game from then on, if you actually do something that's epic and monumental enough, like going, finding some ancient relic from some ancestor 10 generations back that just happened to be used to slay some super powerful creature, and then you acquire it, and then you have to slay the ghost of that super powerful creature or whatever. So there's a lot of content that can come from the inclusion of ancestral lineage in the game, and how it can really put a lot of uniqueness for each character, and do it in a way that's kind of procedural, so that there isn't a best practices for how you can do one thing or another, and have the best storyline or whatever, have certain events automatically happen for your character. It might not necessarily be what you're looking to do, or it'd be an interesting thing to kind of look into. But ultimately, I have a lot of information in that document. It's really a lot to try to summarize in a short moment here, especially, I feel like if I had somebody else that I could kind of talk back and forth with about it, we'd be able to cover more details. But
I do. I feel bad I haven't had a chance to look at it yet, because I've just been at work, because it's Christmas and that's what I do. It sounds really interesting. So we were talking, when we were talking about different types of permadeath and things, talking about the roguelike system for RPGs.
Yeah.
I think it's really interesting that any time you created a character in that way, you'd have a completely different path set in front of you. There's a few things I'd worry about min-maxes, if it was less efficient. Like if you loaded in, you had a certain kind of ancestral loadout. If people would be like, "Oh, I don't want this character. I'm going to delete it and remake it until I get the the most efficient one." Which would be a bit of a shame.
Well, you do that in D&D. You just keep re-rolling the dice over and over again.
Exactly.
That? I just heard somebody laughing, like
in the background.
This is my housemates.
That was a very good joke. It resonated. It resonated throughout the universe, and somebody else laughed from far, far away.
From the other side of the country.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Do you like that? It's just interesting, isn't it? Being more sort of, it's an RPG, it's a role playing game, and like you mentioned with D&D, you want to feel like you're a part of the world. I remember, my mind just went back to the original Fallout games, like the isometric ones, and 1 and 2, where kind of went out into the world and you sort of became a part of the world, and you had like friends and you sort of mattered within that. And then in Fallout 3 you were kind of like a newcomer and you went on this journey and like really changed the world. And then in New Vegas, you were in the world, you were meant to be like this courier person, like you had a job, but then at the start of the game, no one has a clue where you like who you are.
Yeah.
You've got no friends, no family. You're not from anywhere. You haven't got a house, and it's just that kind of that detachment that you always get. Like when you start these MMOs, it's why you're always like fresh out of the training academy. You've got no history whatsoever, and it'd be nice just to have those links to the world, like just something made you a part of the world that you'd obviously been living in at least for a while. I think something like that could be cool. Just saying.
Oops.
Who just deleted a message from Omeed?
That was an accident.
You were trying to copy that?
Yeah.
Omeed's getting a timeout.
Maybe we can see it in chat for a moment there.
How do I get him back?
How do
I unban him? I don't want to ban the developer. He's gone out the chat. Oh, how do I unban him?
Did you ban him?
Yeah, I banned him for 600 seconds.
It's 5 minutes, man.
I know. Oh my god, that was an accident. I was trying to make him.
Christmas wish. My Christmas wish came true.
I'm sorry, Omeed. That was an accident. Oh, see.
And I always thought it would have been like Boobot or something that would have pulled that off, but no, it's a
that was epic fail. I'm actually banned the one guy who we want to hear from. Okay, let's see. Permit.
Now he's going to start blowing up your Twitter, man.
So, if you ever find your claims being unlocked and made public to everybody, even though you didn't set it that way, you know who did it.
Yeah, it was probably me. Or Omeed's probably doing that to me, yeah. Let's see, how about if I make him a moderator and see if that fixes it?
Yeah, that'll probably be a good idea. I don't know. He might throw the ban hammer around.
I'm just going to say, after you ban him, you make him... there won't be any repercussions there.
I'm trying all kinds of things right now, trying to fix this.
Man, this is hilarious.
I don't know how to do it.
When I thought you hadn't got me anything for Christmas.
I gave you the biggest present of all. I made him be quiet for 5 minutes. He's going to leave now. He's not going to come back. He's going to be like, screw you guys.
What, does anybody else have anything to say on the lore languages? Otherwise, we've got a whole lot of questions that are going to require a whole lot of eating from Tobran.
Yeah, he actually said, Tobran's on timeout. He can't eat anymore.
Gonna have another one, just gonna throw up. No.
So Chaos Lords is laughing.
Domo, ban Tobran. Any chapters he needs to be banned.
I'm not touching that stuff anymore because I obviously don't know what I'm doing. I was gonna make him a moderator. That's what I was trying to do, so he could post links and stuff, but it didn't work. So
the international no symbol doesn't make someone a moderator.
No, it wasn't that. I guess I did click that. I see. The problem is I'm doing it on a small screen. I was trying to do it on there. Never mind. All right, let's move on then, shall we? Omeed, we hope you're still here in 5 minutes when you can come back and talk. Okay. That was my +10 ban hammer, banning the developer. Okay, what are we going to do in Alpha, guys? What's your plan for attack in Alpha?
Well, Omeed put out the challenge that nobody will be good in Alpha, and I disagree. I pwn games. That's what I've been doing my entire life. I sit down, I play a game. Within a couple hours, I understand it. Within a day or two, I'm basically done with it. I figured it out. I understand all the tricks, and whatever. If I keep on playing, it's because it's fun. So
I fixed it. So thanks a lot to Raz651. He taught me how to do it. You just type unban. So Omeed's back. Try to say something, Omeed, please.
Omeed.
Tell me you're here.
It'll be a few seconds anyway.
Yeah, it will be. Okay. So you're gonna do what again, Legendary?
I'm gonna be running stuff.
Running stuff.
I'm gonna be running stuff. I'm gonna be running everything. Zaphos and his brick tycooning. I'm gonna be running that too. He's gonna have no stake in that game.
Oh my god.
That's fine talk. That is. I'm just going to be messing around. I'm just going to be the complete opposite end from where Reese is. I mean, I always do that. From when
oh, he's back.
I'm so rubbish. I'm so rubbish.
Welcome
everyone's
back.
got too many names. I'm just like, yeah, Nero's going to be like off doing amazing things, and I'll just be running around, running in circles, building the bearded clan with Fu. And
no, you did not get auto banned. You got Domo banned by
that's
accident.
landmark though. That's landmark. EQN. We're gonna be doing some business.
Yeah, and EQN, I'm all into the role playing mode. I want to make some really cool different races and characters and things. But in landmark, yeah, I'm gonna run around and build stuff. Somebody Dig says, "Who is Zaphos?" Oh, that's sad. That's very sad. I hope Zaphos is okay. Haven't heard from him in a long time. Zaphos and Locke and I were the ones who started doing the show. What are we on, episode 16 or so? So it's been probably like 20 weeks ago we started doing this show.
Wow, isn't it?
That's crazy.
Me and you do, man. We don't.
So Omeed says he doesn't know how many times he said Jaffa during his ban, but it's probably significant to a brand, so you might as well eat some.
I don't want to.
Omeed. Yes, you do. You want Jaffas. Can you dip them in milk? Do they taste better if you dip them in milk?
I've never tried that. It's probably not a good idea.
Because then they just start to expand.
They get really heavy.
Trendane, what are your plans for Alpha?
Nothing.
Come on, you were gonna get you an Alpha thing.
No.
No, you don't want one, or you just aren't gonna do it.
What I'm not a builder kind of person.
You want EQ next.
Pretty much. I mean, I'll do voices for. That's what I'm good at. I don't build well.
Well, what about doing some really cool machinima? You could do that.
I could do the voices for the machinima, yes, but I couldn't do the machinima.
Well, you've already got the character there. Like it's not you. It could be whatever. Well, you don't.
Yeah, as long as they're all human.
Right.
Sorry.
Yeah, we got to get that fixed, though, Mead. No more just humans. We want at least Karen, so he can be.
I want to do a party like it's 1999 series with me and Tobran, and I want Trendane to be another character, but like in character, like as an NPC who's like our quest giver, and like trying.
He's following you around.
That would be fun.
Here's something I'm wondering.
Solid, just in character, like no fourth wall breaking or nothing.
Yes.
With the humans. How proportional can we make them? Like, can we make them 8 foot tall or 4 foot tall? Can we make them like super rotund or super skinny? Will we be able to have control over different things like really thick arms and legs with super skinny torso and giant, floppy head or whatever? That's the sort of thing. Just because it's human doesn't mean it has to look necessarily human in proportions if we get control over that sort of stuff.
I don't know. We could make. Omeed, what kind of body sliders do you have in this game?
It's something we haven't really talked about yet, have we? Like the whole character customization thing.
Because we don't have any clue. I mean, it could be that you could be either male or female, tall or short, and that's it. Well,
for the start of Landmark, possibly.
Okay, that actually Raz is correct. The only thing that really carries any interest for me is resource gathering. So I would do that in Alpha. I would just go around and gather resources.
Yeah.
And if there's a reason to explore, I'd love that. Just sort of running off into the world like a giddy idiot.
Yeah.
Just digging. That's my speciality in all sort of building type sandbox games. Like Minecraft and Terraria, everything. I just dig a hole until I get stuck. And die. That's my whole game plan basically. I just look for things and just go nuts, try and climb over mountains and stuff. I like.
All right, so Omeed has confirmed that the customization for Landmark is going to be minimal at Alpha.
Oh.
So probably short, tall.
Alpha is that?
Okay, well that's for Alpha, but I'm talking about like, at launch, is it going to have a lot more control, or is it going to be, still fairly limited, or is that one of those things that
Homer
isn't being
Estes has a
discussed
great,
yet? Or
Homer Estes has a really great point. I want City of Heroes level of character creation. How many of you guys have played City of Heroes?
I played it in beta, I think.
It had a great character customization thing. I mean, it came with a bunch of different outfits, and you could basically change your character from being some kind of like huge Hulk-looking thing to a huge rock Hulk thing to a really lithe female to like a muscular dude. All these different things you could do in the character customization was really fun.
DCUO has a pretty good character customization with the aesthetics, especially once you've played the game for a while and you get all the fancy stuff you can't start with.
Yep.
I hope it's pretty robust eventually. I think it's one of those weird things that people seem to judge a game by. Like before it comes out, like people go, "Oh, you can't change the length of your forearms." I am playing that.
Yeah. Well, some people are into Barbie.
I will tell you, and depending on how adjustable a game is, if a game comes out and it's only got a couple of different options, I just quickly pick a character. I don't care, and I just jump in. But if it has a lot of options, like Final Fantasy XIV had quite a few options for each character, race, and everything, and I would spend 20-30 minutes on just like the eyebrows, and I'd be like, okay.
Do you think that makes you feel more invested in a character?
Mm-hmm. I do.
If you can tweak like every single time, like the Skyrim creator or something, where you can go and like just minutely go into every single part of their face and then never look at it again for the next 100 hours.
Right, you're always looking at the butt. But
it's interesting that when you've got a free to play game, it's like if there's no investment for people to go into it, would something like a very deep character customization, would that be something that maybe made people stick around a little bit more and felt a bit more invested in it, without having to spend money? It's just a thought. Just saying.
All right, Tobrand, you haven't said much tonight. It's like your mouth's been full.
I wonder why.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I'm not usually one to spend a ton of hours in character creation unless you can get those really minute details in like DCUO, Guild Wars, Skyrim, all that stuff. If I can't do that, I never really care about what my character looks like. To be honest, I want that amazing detail.
You played a human in Guild Wars 2 though.
Yeah, so
if you play a human in Guild Wars 2, you can look 14 and that's it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's like, hey, you want to look like a 14-year-old? Come on down.
Well, I can achieve my dreams there. I can have a beard, okay?
Come play Guild Wars 2.
Yes.
And that's why I never
long flowing beards with stuff in them.
Oh my god, have you seen the beards in human Guild Wars? It's embarrassing.
Yeah, they were pretty bad.
I want to see your character now.
They have kind of a douchey look to them, to be quite honest with you.
Well, in Guild Wars?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they kind of like had hair gel and stuff.
I'm an Asura Master Race.
They're like 5. Never mind 14.
Yeah, the Asura did look like little kids.
Yeah.
How do they look like little kids? They look like little Yodas is what they look like. Little grey badass murder machines.
Look old enough to be Yoda.
Shh. I played Mesmer as well, so you can shut your mouth.
No.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Okay.
1v1 me, bro. 1v1
Fine.
me.
Bring it
Yeah,
on.
seriously.
Bring it.
I'm just gonna eat another Jaffa. Someone said Jaffa in chat.
Somebody did just say Jaffa, and Dorian just says, if it doesn't have a Jaffa slider, I'm wasting my time.
Try like it's 1999 on all good YouTube.
Oh my god, you've gone through 2 boxes.
Yes.
Yes.
You have not realized how much I've gone through.
My 15-month-old son is watching his first Into the Portal with me. Aww.
Hey.
So glad we can teach him such wonderful vocabulary.
I know. It'll be great.
Yeah.
All right, so guess it's Q&A time.
Yes, our incredibly in-depth Q&A time,
Yeah, this
which
is gonna be a great one.
now most of it is irrelevant thanks to the fact that he's already gone through, his
2
entire
boxes.
supply,
Yeah.
except for the 4 he just threw at the camera.
Let's
Three. Okay.
maybe let's speed round these ones then and get to the ones that are a little more relevant.
Okay. So, Trendane, you want to ask him?
Sure.
Funny
I
voice.
Oh, and a funny voice. Okay, a funny voice.
Hire Firestein because Omeed says he likes that. He likes that.
Okay. All right. Okay, I suppose I can do it in this voice here.
Somebody referred to it as on one of my comments on my YouTube channel. They referred to it as that gruff old woman voice. I'm like, Harvey Firestein is not a gruff old woman.
He's old now, though.
Well, he's old, but he's not a woman.
No, he's definitely not a woman.
He's just
Sounds exactly like my mum.
Does it really now? That says a lot, Locke. It tells me a lot about your childhood.
It reminds me of Dr. Girlfriend on the Pentapod Brothers.
Yeah, it's Dr. Girlfriend, yeah.
You know, it's-
Okay.
Dwarf life is hard on anyone, including dwarves.
Mm-hmm. So if I ask, see now I feel okay saying the words because now I know that he's only got 3 left and they're on the floor.
Yep.
So
If I ask a question about Jaffas, does that mean he has to eat 2 Jaffas? A Jaffa now and a Jaffa later, a Jaffa when a question gets answered? Sorry, I'm just confused.
No. Next.
Okay.
he's choking. Look at this.
His
Poor
throat's
guy.
a bit dry.
Well, from Aspix33,
What do you think about Jaffas at EQN?
They
Gotta
should
be
have
a-
Jaffas.
in
Must
EQN,
have.
not landmark.
If they're not in, I'm boycotting.
Where do they grow on trees?
I think they'll be on the hardcore throwback server.
Yeah. Definitely.
yeah.
Instant permadeath if you eat a Jaffa. Omeed,
It's on
can you
my
put
list of arbitrary demands.
Can you put Jaffas in somewhere in the game, Omeed, please?
It's sort of like there was that original series Star Trek episode where there was the Eden fruit, I think it was called, or something where you take one bite out of it and you just die.
Yeah.
So that's what there should be, just Jaffa trees there, and it's like Willy Wonka's chocolate room. You just go over and you pick one, and you're dead. That's
There
it.
we go.
Disembowel.
I want to
and
go to a
Jaffa's
vendor
come out.
somewhere that's like he's up in the mountains and he's like in a toga or something, and he's passing out Jaffas to the poor children, and you can buy Jaffas directly from him. He'll be called Tobran. That'd be
See,
great.
There you go.
I want a tree that grows the Cadbury cream eggs because I don't really like chocolate, but I love those. I think it's just because I like the commercial so much.
Wouldn't it be funny if they really did put Jaffas in the game as a craftable food, like Kron just said?
They'd have
After
to.
that.
It'd be so inside joke. People wouldn't get it unless they were here tonight or watching the stream. At some point.
No one would.
They would have to partner with them. As
Yeah.
Everyone would think it was a Yogscast thing, surely.
Yes, they would.
Yeah.
That's what I figured. I figured Tobin was trying to get as fat as Simon. So
Ooh.
I love Simon. I love Simon.
That,
Very, very cuddly.
Scroll.
Yeah, go ahead.
Kind of leads into the next question then.
Does it? Oh, does it?
Really?
EQ Innovate. Oh, sorry. I lost myself. From Chaos Lord 83. Gotta love the chaos. It's just fantastic. EQ and events just steal Jaffas from Tolbran. Like pickpocket them.
Omeed says, fun fact, Jaffa is not a copyrighted term.
Which means they can put it in the game.
Yay.
Confirmed. We have Jaffas. Jaffas confirmed.
Nice.
But are they
Put-
trademarked?
It's not. It says it's,
Not copyrighted, but are they trademarked?
I had
Did you
a food truck, and my food truck was called Sandwich, and I copyrighted the term, I thought. And then I had somebody here locally who started another truck called Sandwich, and I was like, hey, you're stealing my copyright. I got a whole copyright. I got a thing from the whole department of whatever you call it there. And come to find out that it's just a term, and you can't copyright a term. It's like copyrighting beer. You just can't copyright the word beer. So, yeah, Jaffa is not a copyrighted term.
Right, so now it's going to be a statue of Omeed, made of Omeed statues, with lava coming out of his eyes,
Passing out
Jaffa's,
Jaffa cakes.
Jaffa's rising from the earth and going into his mouth. That's what
I'm,
Nice.
I'm very
Come
glad
on,
that
guys. Community. Let's make this happen.
Let's make it happen. We can make it happen, Captain. It's so funny because just a real quick semi-spoiler for the Hobbit 2. The part where the giant gold statue, right? I was like, that's Omeed. Did you guys, you know what I'm talking about? Did you
All
see
right,
that?
now shut up about it.
Okay. But yeah, that was awesome.
Yes.
I was like, that's the statue of Omeed looking like a dwarf. That was cool. All right, go ahead.
Okay. Then make a size about the questions.
Oh my
I
god.
laughed.
Dave.
Talbot said he was the Jaffa King. And then we get back to another question, which is by Game Over 99. I presume that's how that's pronounced. And the question is, with the game starting, it's very important to say starting with everyone coming back. What? Will there be kill on sight for races that interact with other racist NPCs? I presume that means that, like, if you've got an NPC who hates Karens and he sees me, is he going to attack me even though I bear no hatred towards him?
I would say probably.
It's an interesting point.
Maybe.
You know, we haven't really heard anything about how factions are going to work. We know that. Do we know that rallying calls are going to be universal for all players? Because that could be problematic. If there was,
Unless you're like a real like super villain or whatever, and everybody hates you, and you've got so much negative reputation that you just don't get an invitation.
I mean, that's what happened in
wait a minute.
the
Dave
first
Marks
EverQuest.
Wait a minute. Dave Marks in chat. Let's ask him.
Who's in chat? Sorry.
Using with Storybricks.
Oh, he's
in terms of Storybricks and the AI, you know, will they hate us enough to kill on sight immediately?
He probably didn't want to be known that he was there.
Well, he shouldn't have made a joke about Jaffas, should he?
And he shouldn't have said, shouldn't have a handle that looks like I am Dave Mark.
Mm.
It's not what it says, but it's what it kind of looks like to me.
He is a day mark.
He's not aggroing that Omeed piece. Well, Mr. Mark, I love your work, but welcome to Bandtown.
Yeah.
We did it to Omeed. You think we're afraid of you?
The Domo swings the band hammer willy-nilly. You never know where it's going to land.
We're in our portal now, yeah?
All right. Well, so what are we gonna? What do you think then? I mean, in the original EverQuest, if you were a night elf and you walked into a human city, you got killed on sight. Like, there was no question about it, unless you did a ton of other quests. There was all these quests you have to do in the sewers, and you guys haven't done that yet in your party like it's 1999. But you could get unkillowest in Freeport, but it took a long time.
Yeah, I feel for the starting zone kind of places, you probably won't run into this too much, but anywhere outside of that, yeah, hostile people will still be hostile.
Mm.
Imagine, I think, it's...
Did I say night elf? I'm sorry. I meant dark elf.
He meant dark elf people. Oh, God.
My brain is a fog today, guys, so I'm like really sorry, I apologize. I meant dark elf.
It could be. It depends how factions work. At the moment, it feels like they want there to at least be areas where everyone can come together, but that certainly doesn't mean that there won't be areas where people can't go. But then they said the whole thing about, they don't want people to, they don't want people to not be able to do things just because of a choice that they made with no information behind it. So, I guess it's one of those wait and see questions. It could be in, it could not be in. It might be something that they haven't even decided themselves yet, but it's an interesting question. Should I say some more words?
No, it's okay. Trendane, would you like to answer the next question?
Why? Just because it's kind of directed at me?
At you, yes.
Okay. So from Chaos Lord 83. Oh my God, was he born in 1983? I was 13 years old. I could almost be his father. I hadn't quite hit puberty yet.
That's before I was born.
I was 12.
Don't you start with me.
I was 12.
I will hunt you down. I will find you, and I will give you such a pinch. Oh my god!
I'm waiting for the day.
So you know that Fu is probably upstairs booking me a ticket to London right as we speak.
We're coming.
Oh, that's right. They're coming to Vegas. They're gonna be close to you,
America.
Vegas is not close to me.
It's closer than London is right now.
Well, yes, but
It's closer than London is right now. Is it moving?
It could be. Well, yes, it is moving. The Atlantic is getting farther away.
It's like the Black Fortress in Crawl. It just disappears and reappears in a new place every day.
It could be.
Oh, you've been to London?
Yes. That's true.
They tried to make me eat blood pudding. Oh.
I like...
From Chaos Lord 83. At Trending. This is not Twitter. This is not Twitter. What about doing NPC voices in Landmark? If you could create your own NPC voiceovers in Landmark, that would actually be really cool, and I don't even know if that's possible. I mean, I know that there was talk between us, amongst us, about creating NPCs, generating quests and stuff like that, but I don't think we've ever just brought up the topic of, is it possible to create voice bricks for them, voiceover files to assign.
There was that whole thing we talked about where if you had different textures on each character, so if you have different voices for each character, everybody who goes in that particular area has to download that voice pack,
Don't they have? I was thinking about this, and I thought about the way that Rift downloads, where you can go and you can play in the world and stuff. But as you go through areas, like as you kind of get close to places, it downloads the assets while you're there. I think even
EQ2 does that
now as well.
Every time I log into EQ2, it's like I get the little dinosaur in the corner. It's going, I'm loading assets. I'm like, what the hell are you doing?
So I suppose it's one of if the technology exists to be able to actively download assets as they're needed, maybe I don't know. I'm not a technical person. I just sit here and talk nonsense, and then wait for next week.
So Fu says that she's going to take Trendane out and go watch good films and hunt hot boys.
Wait, take me out?
Yeah, no, take you out in Vegas. To go watch good films and hunt hot boys.
Well, I think I still know a bunch of the pirates over at the thing. And
okay, what kind of pirates?
Pirates. We're friggin' in the rigging pirates, kind
of. Okay. Anyway, moving on. Oh, yes. By the way, Omeed, who might be still in the audience, I haven't seen Trendane's paperwork come through yet. Last week or 2 weeks ago.
Why am I not a legal citizen?
No. He was going to get you a job. Remember?
What?
He said you're hired. I'm going to send you the paperwork. I remember him saying that somewhere in the chat.
If I'm hired and he's sending me the paperwork, why would you have seen it?
Because you were going to show everybody when it came in.
Did I say that?
No, but I think that's what would happen.
Well, I could do this. I could sit there and go,
papers! I got the papers!
Look! It's all the different flavors of Jiva.
Ooh, very nice.
Jiva, not the things you were eating, Tobin. They're kind of like bullion cubes of coffee. Anyway.
Okay, interesting.
Very nice. So Omeed says, what? And then he says, eventually, soon, trademark from Trent Restaban. So, probably they don't need your voice right now, Trendane, but they'll need it soon when they start doing the EQ Next stuff. All right, next question.
Next question, which is also our last question. Oh my God.
Well, we did it just an hour tonight.
This one is from Raz651. Now, when 651, that is an old sumbitch right there. Is of what I'm saying. It's like, that's getting in the Yoda levels, So, what are your plans for Into the Portal show in the new year?
Well, this is our new interface, so maybe I'll tweak it a little bit. And we're going to just do the same stuff. I'd like to get down here in this corner where the chat roll is going. That is supposed to be for a developer. That's the developer spot. Or we can move the developer up. If they need, probably should be where Locke is, maybe.
Promote them.
Whoa.
See, now he's getting all upset because he doesn't want to get peed on.
We could put the developer in the middle. We could do that, but
Be
they
like-
have to
be
first
like
go
a-
on the show. So
like a sandwich.
yeah, how is he going to hire somebody associated with his band happy show?
You
Do
should
not
have
blame.
thought of that, Omeed.
Yeah, do not blame Trendane for my foibles, because foibles is a good word.
You gotta learn
Yes.
to accept responsibility, the consequences of your actions.
A lifetime of consequences of your
I want to
actions.
carry on being part of this show. We don't just let anyone on, you know.
Yeah. Then we have-
Honestly, Omeed, when it comes to ban happy shows, any SOE broadcast bans like hundreds of times more than we do, and they don't unban either. So
Oh.
if we want to talk about ban happy, I think you'd actually be quite at home over at SOE.
So
Yeah,
basically,
I believe-
Omeed says he wants to replace Lock. He said, yes, move the developer up to Lock spot and leave the chat stream as it is.
Well, you know what, Omeed? A lot of people want to replace me, but no one has yet. I wonder why that is. Been there since week one. What? There was that homophobic guy that wanted me off the show. Remember him?
Yeah,
I
No.
don't know, I heard of
didn't
him.
work. You're still here.
Yeah, he's gone.
So at some point down the road, that's the goal for next year. We'd like to have Omeed, Pentapod, Domino. We'd like to have Dexella on the show.
You're just going through all the names because I screwed them up before the show.
I saw it. I just was sort of referencing that maybe. So
Oh,
It's
I'd
an
love
inside
to have Dex
joke.
on, that'd be cool.
yeah, Dexella would be great. So any of the Sony people would love to be on the show, and I'd like to have
Can we,
Mr. Dave Mark on too. But I understand he's sort of restricted by what he can talk about.
The shackles.
This is why, I mean, in the new year, it's going to be a very interesting thing. When we get past the whole NDA thing, and we're really in the game. I think it's gonna be very interesting
We
to
can't-
see
Chaos
what is
said-
possible in the show. Featuring what people have been up to, and getting in and doing our own stuff. With SOE Moat, and I know that. Tobran likes making machinima things, and I know that Trendane likes voicing things, and that could be potentially something. And I know that I like running around like an idiot, so get all that together.
Yep,
You
we have something beautiful.
You got something
I'm actually,
beautiful.
but we did talk about this, that when the game's out and we can do machinima, like with our Sony emote, we will do a show at some point where we are in character. Like, I'll be a little Froglock, because that's kind of the closest thing I can think of that looks like a Geekdomo. And Trendane could be his Karen or whatever other furry creature he'd like to be, and Locke could be his dwarf, and Legendary Neurotoxin can be a night elf, and
It's not a
Excuse me.
Karen,
I said that on purpose, by the way, night elf.
Right.
Chaos Lord said Terry would be nice to have on the show, but actually, I don't think that's going to work anymore. Trendane is in a huff right now.
I want the Terry and Trend special.
No.
2 boxes.
No.
Just
I don't love
2
him
boxes, 5 hours. Only me in the chat.
I am so done with him. He is now just no. He's
Somehow Terry
screwed
has
up.
wronged Trendane, and I don't know how it happened.
He
But
screwed up.
I guess we can't have him on the show.
No, it's that holiday video thing from him and the team. Just no.
He took an office full of vampires and made them stare directly at the sun.
He made everybody, even vampires or not, he made the entire team stare into the sun, except maybe I think for Dave, who was off in the shade, off on the side. But just that level of cruelty, I cannot abide. No.
Oh, it was so much fun though. Dave had his little elf puppet, and Omeed was wearing a white blazer, which made my day. But
We actually have a real question here, folks.
Oh
Look at
God,
that.
no.
Look at that. Yeah, what are we going to do?
I recommend reading it off.
Okay, that'd be good. All right. As long as that's the recommendation, we'll go with that.
Yeah.
Okay, sounds good.
Oh, me.
Yeah, that'd be good. Yeah.
Oh,
Firestein.
okay.
Yeah,
All right.
Come on
Okay.
back.
So
Firestein.
this one is from. What? There's more text popping up. It's going crazy in here. So this one is from. I believe it's pronounced Androel. Is that right? Androel. I think maybe something. Right. So the question is this: EverQuest next landmark alpha release is just around the corner. Really? Where? I don't see it. You're lying to me. Anyways, that wasn't a question. Are we going to have any system requirements anytime soon? Yes. What? Omeed, what?
Sort of went from the question into a statement. Yes, so we don't have any system requirements yet. I'm guessing they're going to use alpha to kind of see what works and what doesn't, so they can kind of say, this does not work on a 486SX. Just it won't run.
I'd say if you can play PlanetSide 2, you're probably at least most of the way there. It's Forge Light Engine plus Voxel Farm, so I don't know how much extra impact that's going to have. But Forge Light Engine is I would say, a decent benchmark to go with for right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably another thing they'll be doing in alpha, and obviously optimization is something that will be a continuous process. I imagine, Trindane, you probably know a lot more about this than any of us. Optimization as testing goes on. No?
They start off with like 10 million pixels or vertices, and they drop it down to like 7.
I can't hear Trindane, and it's hurting my soul.
They said we're going to mute Trindane. Somebody said in chat to mute Trindane so that we could at least have Terry on the show.
No, I'm saying if we have Terry in one of the windows, then maybe we could consider that. But don't mute Trindane.
Or he's pulling a Tanlin, either way. He's muted.
All right, we got a question just popped up for Mr. Armbuck. Omeed says system requirements are another sensitive thing because one of the big parts of alpha is optimizing. Yeah, when they first start off, like I was saying, 10 million vertices on this character, and then by the end they're down to 600 vertices or something to make it run faster on the older machines. All right, so go ahead with Mr. Armbuck's question, Trendane, please.
Oh, okay. Let's see. For quests, how would you like them to be meaningful? Like into your soul. How would you like them to flow like a water voxel?
I see what he's saying. I think he's asking, like, do you do this quest and then it takes you to this next area, and when you get to the next area, there's 3 new quests there that are going to then take you to the next following area, and if you do any of those out of order and you just walk to the third area, then you've already missed a whole series of quests along, and can you pick up where those quests left off in that area? Do we know anything about the questing system? I don't think we do.
I kind of feel like anything that's actually codified into a quest has some sort of Storybrick interaction in one way or another. So if it doesn't actually interact with the Storybrick, it isn't actually a quest. It might be an errand. It might be, fetch me this thing and I'll pay you. I don't believe that's actually going to be a true quest of sorts. Going out and slaying some nasty creature, that's not really a quest. That's just, going and slaying stuff. So unless it actually has Storybrick interaction, I don't know if it'll actually be codified in the UI or otherwise as a quest. Trendane, were you going to say something?
Well, when you mentioned running an errand, the first thing that brought to mind was one of the first quests in WoW that I really, really thought, okay, this is woven in with the lore of what I'm seeing. Was as a Tauren, when you start on Red Cloud Mesa, as you were leaving, you run into this one female Tauren who's like, my leg is hurt, I can't get down to Bloodhoof Village. Can you take this bundle of furs down there for me? And I was like, yeah, no problem. And you just take them down there and deliver them. And when you get to Thunder Bluff, they give you, there's a guy at the leather thing. He says, can you take these, this bundle of leather and go up and talk to the flight master at the top of the tower? He will let you fly out to Crossroads and drop these off and then come back. And then I'll pay you, the cost of the flight when you come back. And I was like, yeah, sure. These felt real. It had an integrated feel to me that I really, really liked. So that's kind of where that stands for me, I guess. At least as far as transitioning from one area to another.
Yeah, we'll walk you through it. All right, I got some more questions popping up.
Oh my God!
Won't leave us alone.
Jesus.
Just in the nature of quests in a sandbox environment, isn't it? In a non-static world where NPCs have different wants and needs, and the world kind of moves around you. It's it's one of those things where whatever is happening in the world will be, as Trendane was saying, it will be sort of relevant to the world and what's happening around just because of the story. So I suppose, in a way, like, how would you like quests to be meaningful is, you know, when you do a quest, it does actually have an effect on the world. You know, if an NPC is there saying, I need plane strider beaks, you know, as you'd be doing in that area, when he gets enough plane strider beaks, he will actually do something with them, and then he won't need plane strider beaks anymore, you know, at least for a certain amount of time. And I think that's how you make quests meaningful, is you make the NPCs need something, and then after a while they don't actually need it anymore. And that's, you know, that's how you make the world and the quests
sort of like when they were opening up the gates of Anchorage, you had to do the linen quest thing, and like cloth. Everyone had to run around. The entire server was running around trying to find cloth.
Yeah.
So
and you could see those elements building up
around the NPCs. They were stacks of them. Yes.
Conversely, with what you were just saying, Locke, you know, you said that it definitely has an impact on the world. Fine and cool. Has an impact on your world. As a sandbox, I mean, that for me would be the difference between a single player and a sandbox thing. You know, if he needs 8 plane strider beaks or whatever, you know, 8 Ratonga tails, let's make it nice and Omeed friendly, you know, Ratonga tails, and exactly, you bring him these things. Suddenly he no longer needs these things from you, but somebody else comes along and he's like, oh, I need 8 of these things. You know, I mean, it has an impact on your world, but it's not really an open sandbox thing if it doesn't affect everybody else. Because
it will, though, if that NPC gets to a point where he doesn't need any more. So, like, you've taken part in that activity, and then the NPC goes, okay, great, got what I need, and then moves on and does something else, you know, within that open world space. Wouldn't it?
Mm-hmm. Trendane does not think so.
It's not that I don't think so. It's just that I would worry about, you would need a massive amount of content for that NPC with the volume of people coming through.
But that's what Storybricks is and does, isn't it? It's like different, if they have different motivations, and as long as there's conflict, you know, it doesn't have to be violent conflict, but as long as there's forces pushing against each other, you know, is how Dave Georgeson, you know, describes the world as, like, you know, all these different groups and forces and different wants and needs and desires conflicting with each other that creates the movement in the world. And it's what happens in EVE Online, you know, the big successful sandbox that we've already got is, you know, all these different kind of wants and needs push people around, and, you know, what activities people engage in changes due to, you know, who has access to what, who wants what, where the markets are, and all those types of things. So I think, you know, yes, you do need a large amount of content, but if you have the wants and needs of the NPCs and you have the sandbox social system set up, you know, in a good way like EVE does, then I think, you know, as long as the world is moving, then, you know, you get that sense of the world changing around you.
Okay.
No, go ahead.
Oh, I forgot what I was going to say now. Something just beeped in the house. Forget it. Never mind.
It's okay. This kind of ties in with the next question anyway.
Yes, go ahead.
And that is, with this being a sandbox game that's changing all the time, will there be personal stories or will they not be there? Don't you throw your hands up at me, mister. But, I mean, that does kind of, I mean, for me personally, I mean, let's look at one of my Worgen that I absolutely love. You know, my Worgen Druid. You know, I've woven his story through, you know, his encounter with, because, like, you see hundreds of people coming out of Gilneas, and they're like, I was a friend of, you know, King Gen Greymane. It's like, how many friends does this guy have? Holy crap. Right. You know, they were like standing beside him with this. No, my character bumped into him, you know, once, and it's like the king was out hunting in the woods and happened upon my Worgen who got in his face about hunting animals. It's like, stop it! And it's like, you know who I am, you know, kind of thing. And, you know, so it was a very, very chance meeting kind of thing, very, very small. And what makes me wonder is, like, with the world changing, it's like, if I establish a storyline for my character and then the world shifts around it, does it undermine or undo everything that I've already written for my for my character, or if I change servers and it's a completely different.
That's the part that I'm worried about is with the rallying calls. That's what I was going to ask about. The rallying calls, and you switch a server. Like on this server, you've done the rallying call, and they built a new city. On the next server you go to, it's not even been started yet. So
I don't know that we'll have a traditional style of server transfer. I'm pretty sure.
I thought you'd be able to swap any server you wanted, is what they said earlier.
I mean, Landmark, I'm pretty sure, but EverQuest Next proper, I'm pretty sure you might be able to maybe transfer the character and all of their attributes, and that's it. But all of the materials you have, all of the epic equipment that you might have that's exclusive to, there's only one of them that exists on the server, stuff like that, or a limited amount on the server. Anything that you might have been able to get that you couldn't have gotten on another server, I don't think any of that will come with you. You might get to keep your gold and your attributes and your stats and some of that stuff, but I don't think you get to keep any of your materials or your history if you're actually going to change servers.
Mm-hmm.
I think my answer to the personal story thing would be, as it's a sandbox game, yes, there is a personal story, but it's up to you to make it. Like your story is what you go out into the world and do. The game isn't gonna put you on a path, and it isn't gonna read the chapters for you. And it's not like you read a chapter and you get a ding and level up at the end because you've gone through the story of a particular zone. It's like you go out into the world and you really, in a lot of ways, it sounds a lot more pedestrian, and it sounds a lot less heroic when you're just sort of going out into the world and finding these things. But for me personally, it's like, at the very start of the show we were talking about DayZ, how you go into that world and you spend a lot of time just running. When you first start playing that game, really, it's a running and dying simulator. But for those moments where amazing things happen, it's so worth it. Mm-hmm. And it's because of that. It's because of that possibility space, and it's because of the emergent, the what's the phrase for it? Emergent content, or I can't remember words at the moment. It's far too late in the evening. But it's because of the emergent gameplay. They give you a world in which to operate, and you end up with things like in EVE Online, the Great Heist, where you take down. They took down huge corporations worth like thousands of dollars of real money, or the assassination of Lord British in Ultima Online. Because these things are possible, we still talk about them years and years later. Whereas, if you're talking about a raid in, a theme park style MMO, yes, it's very fun and it's a real challenge to get there, but it's not special in that same way, because it's just something that you do in the game. Like, the game puts it there for you to do and makes it possible to do as well. Like, you always know that it's possible because it's designed to be beatable. And for me personally, that's why I always enjoyed PvP more, because you go in and when you win, it's a real victory. Like, you won, and you are the victor. It's not designed for you to be able to beat. And I think that, to me, is the fundamental difference between sandbox story and theme park story. The sandbox doesn't lead you down a path, and it is a lot more sort of pedestrian, but ultimately I think it's far more satisfying for those moments, those early DayZ moments that those of us that played it early on still talk about,
Mm-hmm.
But still, I've got a great story of a last stand on top of a hospital that is the culmination of several hours worth of gameplay, and it wasn't scripted and it wasn't planned, and it was one of my most memorable and enjoyable experiences. And
Pentapod's here.
Yeah. Oh, hey.
She's been
How's
quiet.
It going?
I gotta be careful I don't accidentally ban her.
Or do it on purpose.
Look at her. She comes in, plugging her own forums like she's important.
Like she's what?
Like she's important.
Important. I heard in porn.
No, let's not talk about that.
All right. I guess the one other thing I would say on the personal story sort of thing is because it's not going to be a linear experience. I wonder how much there's going to be like a journal of Storybrick interactions and such, or just when you played and what you did sort of thing. I've played games in the past. If I remember correctly, the Might and Magic series was one that everything that you did was recorded in a journal, so you could go all the way back through everything you did, and you see some name you haven't seen in 6 months. You look through your journal, you finally find way back in like the first few pages, oh, this guy you met, way back when, and be able to have some meaningful interaction out of it. That's the sort of thing I could see with a personal story. Plus, if they include like ancestral lineage as part of more uniqueness for the character, that could further kind of extend and push that. But anyway, anybody else?
They have talked about some sort of journal thing, haven't they? Just to keep track of everything. I think
I forget what it was
something
called.
like that would be fantastic.
The Rose Song.
The Rose Song, yeah, and it had a different kind of name. Pentapod, Omeed, or even Dave, are you guys going to be at PAX East?
Wait a minute, you can't ask Dave that. He already said not to ask him any more questions.
Well, he might get electrocuted, which I'm kind of enjoying right now. So,
well, interesting.
You mean man.
I'd like to know if anybody from Sony is going to be at PAX East, because I'll be there. Anyway, moving on. Any other questions we have in the chat?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, we have 2 more.
This one is also from Rad651. We got just 2 or 3 people asking questions. I don't know why it's so limited.
It's okay. We have a lot of people here.
I'm not saying that other people it would be nice if they asked questions that didn't involve little chocolate-covered cakes with like an orangey kind of... Anyway, so... From your previous experience with NDA, do you find it difficult not to keep things under NDA, and what is not separate?
Just don't say anything. Don't talk about it. Don't think about it. When you're in conversation, you just know. Just know. Anyone asks you a question? Oh, are you in that particular in this test phase for the game? You just go, I don't know what you're talking about. What's a game?
What game? Yeah.
I've never played a video game.
I always tell my friends what I think about it. Usually, but I won't go if I'm on a strict NDA. I won't obviously make a video about it or anything like that.
I don't own a computer. I don't believe.
He's magically using your phone right now.
It's just lights. It's just lights in a box.
You said it was made by.
Oh, we gotta be careful. Mom is in the chat.
You said it was made by what company? Sony? I've never heard of them. It's do they have a daddy company? Is it like a child subsidiary kind of thing? I don't know.
Yeah, it's Omeed. So be careful. Omeed is in the audience.
2 statues.
2 statues. We should build a statue to Omeed's mom, because honestly, she brought him into the world, so she should be honored more so. Right?
I think she had help. Probably.
You mean from a nurse or a doctor? Probably.
So,
or maybe a father.
Are you just making?
Dad's
stuff
not
up?
here, so we're just talking to Mom. Hello, Omeed's mom.
With the NDA stuff, I'm gonna say the show is gonna be weird and different when alpha starts, because there's going to be a lot of stuff where like either one of us is going to be the censor and be like, no, you can't talk about that, no, or one of us is going to slip and say something and it's going to be an official recording, and then we all get notices for lawsuits from SOE, and it'll be interesting. We gotta
after a week.
We'll get permabanned. And kill off our character.
That's why Yakuza Hit Squad comes and tracks us all down, then you know what happened. You know what caused it.
That's why I practice occasionally.
I hate when his mic goes out like that.
Strategic mute.
Unless you can read lips, you generally won't know.
Omeed bought his dad a 40? Come on, Omeed. On your salary, you should be getting him like some really high-end champagne.
Champagne?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, go ahead, Trinity. What other question we got?
That's if it's not from France.
Yes.
Okay.
Everywhere else in the world, they call it champagne.
Let's see. And the last question we have presently
is also from Androel. However, but just tell me, just put a pronunciation label in like the little French brackets. Just bracket me like one of your French girls or something, and let me know how it's pronounced. Do players repeat quest / dungeon / raids in sandbox MMOs? Mo.
We don't know, but didn't Dave Georgeson talk about that they were going to try to make it to where you only kill a certain guy once, maybe there might be like an orc lord, but the orc lord kind of comes back because they always need a lord. But if there's a named dragon named Smaug who happens to be in the bottom of a dwarven city, then you might only have to kill him once, and then it's gone forever. Once he's down, he's down.
Yeah. I mean, isn't the plan with Fear Out the first person who completes it, like they strike something at the top and the whole thing explodes? And it's like gone across all servers, and like they take it out of EQ 1 and 2.
That's pretty epic. I don't know about that, but they did say that.
Yeah, I mean, yes, that's
you guys
the
remember
idea.
him talking about that?
There is, I forget where it's from. There is a quote from Dave Georgeson that says, "We don't want players repeating content ever." It's not going to be the case that you're going to go to a place and you're either going to go into an instance and fight through the same thing, or you're going to go to a place and wait for something to spawn in a particular location. That's not how the game is going to operate, which I think is great. I think it's a good step, in my opinion. Sense of adventure and all that.
I mean, with Landmark, people being able to actually make stuff, I could see there being monthly things for people to make certain types of architecture, and those will then be populated into the game in the next 2 or 3 months and become basically part of the game history. So I could actually see Landmark being a way to guarantee that there will be unique content for everybody, because every unique dungeon that somebody has made, you'll maybe only see 10 times a year on one server. So, every server that you're going to see it on, it's going to be done maybe, 200 times a year at most. That's really, in the grand scheme of things, for how many people playing and how many quests are being completed every day, that's nothing. That's basically something that nobody sees more than once.
You will have to kill Fippy many times, that's confirmed. You just can't stop that little knoll. All right, we have one last question, I think, and then that might be it for today.
I already said that once, but okay, we have
one last
question at this point.
The line has been drawn.
The line has been drawn, because we can go ahead and wrap it up at this point.
Ishva, no further. From Gimpy God. Hi. Hi. What is the one piece of lore you would want to see done in a different way, i.e., how it's given to you in the game?
They've pretty much done I can't think of anything new. Like, pretty much every game I've ever played, they've always tried some new way to build a lore in. It could be through cutscenes. It could be through quests. I don't know. What do you guys think?
For me personally, the way I like to do it, I like games that have very rich lore. I like real sort of world building. I like it to feel like a complete and functioning world in an RPG. Mm-hmm. But I also, these days, I have more limited game time than I used to, and I don't want to be sitting at my PC during the time that I'm meant to be playing games and just reading something. I know some people do enjoy that. They want their character to sit in a library and do that, and that's great for them. But just my phone has the internet on it, and I just like maybe if I found a particular lore item, it'd add it to something. Maybe as part of is it the Rosong? Sorry, I'm terrible with names of things. Yeah, maybe if it added it to the Rosong, maybe I could have my Rosong as an app on my phone, like something like that. In terms of lore delivery, would be incredible for me. Just I'm sitting on the train on the way to work. That'd be.
Omeed just confirmed that we're going to print all future lore on Jaffa cakes.
Confirmed.
Then
Great.
all of this history is going to get eaten by Tobin,
Tobin.
and we have to rip him open and reassemble it.
I was gonna do that anyway.
Yeah.
Vegas.
Vegas, baby.
It's like trying to eat a hedgehog. You know, you have to grab them in the middle and turn them inside out because all the spiky bits are on the
I know
outside.
what I'm doing. I know what I'm doing.
Shut up, Dad.
This is JaffaCast. Yes. All right. I guess that's it. Let's go.
No, we haven't. We have another question.
Oh, one more question. Okay.
Damn it!
All right, this is
One
the
more
last
round.
question. No more questions after this.
No one could make us stop. Stop it. So, from TKS 546, which makes me think of a stormtrooper. I want to date a stormtrooper so bad. Okay, so the question is: will there be server-generated roads between plots and landmark? I think I have an answer to this.
Okay. Harvey
I
or Trendane does?
No, Harvey has
Okay,
the
Harvey does.
answer.
Okay.
I think anyone who currently has one of those Trailblazer founder packs, when the game is released, you are all relegated to making roads. You don't get to do shit aside from that. You just get a pickaxe and a shovel, and your entire purpose is to make roads. You don't get to
And
play
they
the
can-
game at
they
all.
can track. They can track in the game how far you've gone with the roads and everything, and they'll be handing out the band. That $100 will be gone. No, there won't be. There won't. There won't be. There won't
I
be
was actually
roads
thinking
for
about
the
this the other day. Like, if someone, because the game's advanced enough, this surely shouldn't be so hard to do. If someone runs, the ground should degenerate just a little bit, but the more people that run that way, the more less grass the ground
Yeah.
becomes.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it becomes more dirt
Yeah.
as you run. That'd be amazing.
And you can see
They could actually
paths.
see where people are going rather than these predefined
We talked about
roads.
this, that maybe they could do within the voxels. They could set it up to where the voxels record the amount of times that's been stepped on, and then
But
I think it would either be that or just a like a history of everybody who's gone over a certain areas that are used more. They're kind of patted down more worn and show use. Areas that are less used and more abandoned, over time they get more overgrown and lost and forgotten about. So if areas really haven't been checked out at all, and the first time in the 2 years the game's been up, the first person who's gone here, it's going to be completely like wild and overgrown and just nasty.
that'd be cool.
And hopefully those areas are the areas with the most interesting stuff and the coolest stuff in them. I mean, they could do it on a more macro level as well. I mean, I'm sure they'll be tracking where players are moving within the game anyway, won't they? So they could do it as a more high level thing, so it wouldn't have to be done in game. They could go in and be like, okay, this area is like really sort of highly populated, so what can we do in this area? Maybe.
There we go. Omeed did say that was a cool idea that we talked about before. He did pass it on to team and electrocuted Dave Mark to determine the viability. And
That's
then
how
Dave Mark
That's
says,
how you determine the viability of it.
and Dave Mark says, and then large groups of people will get together and stamp out large phallus shapes that you can see when you look down from the mountains. Yeah, that's brilliant.
I was thinking about that at the beginning
so
of this show.
Community event right there.
Yeah,
I'm
confirmed
Something like that.
phallus.
I'm thinking about that all the time.
Yeah, I know, right? We know there will be Mount Penis and forest, the penis forest.
It's a weird thing. It just
So-
keeps sort of coming up on, if you pardon the pun, keeps
Yeah.
popping up on Reddit all the time.
It does.
People going, oh, but people will build penises. It's like,
That's
yeah, they
right.
will.
You
They'll
can take
build
a
a lot.
screenshot and report it. That's
Oh.
or actually, there's places where it makes sense. If you make like a temple of fertility, those have dongs and stuff all over them. They're
Well,
actually
then that
really
might
nasty.
be reasonable.
It's like the cover of Disney's The Little Mermaid all over this. Anyway, the other thing that I was thinking of was I don't know if we mentioned this.
Bonehenge.
Was like deer tracks, hunting tracks that hunters would follow, tracks that animals tend to beat down and whatnot. I didn't know if that was something that we covered as well, because it's another thing that I'm not sure about is how much will you have to hunt, if at all, and what is the wildlife like, if any. Because we've talked about domesticating, having a farm with a bunch of sheep or cattle or whatever, and orcs coming, or ogres or whatever, coming to raid that. And, but what about wildlife?
Good point. Because they do mark tracks. That's where a lot of roads come from.
And-
Omeed says Bonehenge, and then 2 seconds later, guys, my mom is here. You're the one who said Bonehenge, Omeed.
Trust me, she knows what one is. You don't have to worry about it.
I think someone's looking for another ban.
Yeah, I think, Omeed, you're pushing the ban thing
Where's my
here.
ban?
Another thing
Omeed,
is,
give him a timeout. Make him sit in the corner.
if you've got a somebody like you're tracking somebody and it starts snowing, that track is gone.
Mhm.
You know, so weather would have a really big effect on that too, and rain.
Real quick, I know we said that was the last question, but Fecal Thunder directed this one directly at me, and
Excuse me, who?
Fecal Thunder.
Eagle Thunder.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's a great viewer. I love Fecal Thunder. And it's probably pretty much what's going to happen with Tobrand later on after the Jaffa Cake incident.
Great.
So he asks, mainly for Geekdomo, anyone welcome to answer because he knows I like necromancers. Do you think the necromancer class will have more than one pet out at a time or will be able to use other players' corpse to raise a minion? I like that idea. I would love to raise a player's corpse to be one of my minions. I think it'd be great. Oh, I typed it. She can't read. What? Yeah.
Shh. How about undead plants?
What?
Like a necromancer who's also a herbologist. His plants die too. They're living things.
I guess, yeah.
A
I'm sure the
dark
necromancer, that's where they start their
animate
arts.
like a chair or like
Ethereal
some
spirits of hopes and dreams.
Pentapod, please don't retweet that.
My dreams died a long time ago.
Pentapod likes to read my tweets because I do other tweets about games and stuff, and sometimes I always end my tweet with a Geekdomo hashtag, and sometimes
I've
it
started
lines.
doing that since she mentioned it.
Yeah, you got to read them sometimes because they always end in this really funny, curious way. And now she says, "I love Fecal Thunder." Overheard from Geekdomo.
I love.
That's going into Twitter.
I
I know it
love
is.
her overheard tweets are the best. Worth following just for those.
How much is it worth?
And not only is it tweeted, but because you have put the chat roll in the thing, it's right there now.
I know everyone can read it. Well, I like the chat roll in the screen somewhere.
Yeah,
It's
but now
good.
you can't complain to her about tweeting it when you've put it in the freaking thing that's going up on YouTube.
That's true. So everyone will see it multiple times.
Yeah.
So
I will be quoted. That will go on my gravestone. Somebody was saying earlier, "What do you want on your gravestone?" Which is what one of the guards would say to you in the first EverQuest if they were about ready to kill you. I would that on my gravestone, please. I love Fecal Thunder. That's an epic thing to have on a gravestone. It sort of sums up my whole life, really.
so poignant.
It is. It's deep. All right, let's move on. I think we're done.
Yeah. Probably going to go get some Thai food now.
Yeah.
Nice.
On YouTube he goes by Fecal Nova, which is so much more
That's
mundane.
awesome.
Yeah.
That's a cool guy.
He's got a fecal thing. Okay. Let's wrap it up.
Oh no! Oh no! Oh, no.
What?
My brain started trying to figure out how to merge that with Black Hole Sun.
Oh.
And it was just,
Black
Just
holes.
no.
Oh.
Just stop.
Oh yeah, we're past it tonight, folks. We are gone over the edge, off the deep end, and it all started out so mundane and kind of like we didn't have anything to talk about, and we've just
It's
devolved.
been a slow news week.
It has been a slow news week. Pentapod and Omeed, would you please get on some good news for us, so next week we can actually have a show? Something
Because it is
great.
all about us. I don't know if you know this.
Of course, or Omeed, who thinks it's all about him. And I do appreciate Omeed from showing up tonight, and Dave Mark, and Pentapod, and Omeed. Thank you for coming, guys. Locke, tell us about your channel.
I've got a YouTube channel.
oh, cool! Oh,
So,
Really?
yeah.
Whoa.
keep going.
It's Log 6 time. I do shows. I do one where I talk about things I'd like to see in EverQuest next, and I've got another one where it's kind of like it's sort of like a training tool for higher level EverQuest players. And me and Tobrand do that together. It's called Party Like It's 1999, and you think you know EverQuest.
No. Get to watch it from the eyes of two noobs that have never played the game.
What do you mean,
I write a column as well for a website what is called Zam.com, and I do this show.
All right, Trendane?
What?
Tell us about your stuff, please.
Oh, well, as you can see in the lovely illuminated text now, it's just lovely. It's trending everywhere, really. I mean, you go to a site, I'm probably trending there. Ironically, not on the Sony station, though.
Yeah.
So,
me either. I'm not Geekdomo over there.
Yeah. But yeah, it's let's see. I do a daily vlog in which I talk basically about my day, and then I'm going to be doing in-game audiobooks since we've been talking about the lore and getting it on your iPhone on the train on the way to work.
Samsung, thanks.
Lovely to have a Rosong app where I could just read out lore.
Be great.
So I try to do lore audiobooks for the people who can't be asked to read.
Me.
Yeah, I wasn't going to name names, but and trending on Twitter and everywhere else, really.
What a good legendary neurotoxin.
Yep, I am legendary at Legendary Neuro on Twitter. You can find me there. You can find me on Steam on Legendary Neurotoxin. That's my account name, so space in the middle there. I also have a new blog now. It's still in the works, but you can see the content that I've got on it right now. That's legendaryneurotoxin.blogspot.com. And I've got my concepts from EverQuest Next and Landmark, as well as a couple of them from PlanetSide 2, and some other stuff up there, as well as the links to the different Into the Portals that I've been in. So definitely check it out if you feel like reading. Also, I have the full version of the Lore Languages document, not the shortened version that I initially posted. So if you want to read that in full, I have it up there. Once again, legendaryneurotoxin.blogspot.com.
Okay. Tobran?
Hello. So I have a YouTube channel, Tobran Armwood, where I'm a co-host on a show with that man up there on Party Like It's 1999. Woo!
He's slurring his word, folks. We made him eat 600 Jaffa cakes tonight.
Yeah, not feeling too great. You can check out my stream at twitch.tv/Tobran85, where on Saturday I shall be playing some more stuff. I should have my graphics card back soon as well, so there's that. So I'll be able to make videos again soon, which is awesome. And that's about it. And at Tobran Armwood on Twitter. There we go.
And I'm Geekdomo doing this show, do a Star Citizen show on Tuesday nights, and right now I'm doing 30 days of DayZ. It's 30 days of playing for at least 4 hours a day, DayZ. And dying a lot, but it's a lot of fun too. So thanks everybody for coming tonight, and once again, thanks to the devs and everybody else who showed up. Really good show. We will be back, not next week, right? We are skipping next week. I think we're coming back the following week. Next week.
Regardless, we'll be back next year.
We will be back next year.
We'll be back next year.
Our next show is January.
Oh my God, January 10th?
Yep, January 10th is when we can start Season 2 of Into the Portal. And maybe by then we will have Omeed sitting in one of these boxes.
My father
Pentapod
made a request for me to go back to Texas for a week to visit him, so I don't know when that trip is going to be, but during that week I will probably not be here.
Okay, that's fine. We'll find some spot, or I'll put like a some kind of free-looking animal in your spot, Trending.
Next week we should all get in on the DayZ live stream.
That'd be good. I'd love to have you all there.
You know, we can have for Trend Day next week. We can have this bear, and then, oh no, its head comes off, and a rainbow comes out.
Nice. Yeah, we'll get. Oh, that's a great idea. Raz had a great idea. We'll get Terry that week. The week that you're gone, Terry will be in your spot.
Yeah.
So there we go. All right, guys.
I'll be sure to poison the rim of the window.
Oh, very nice. With salt and hate. Okay. We'll see you all very soon. Until next time, this is Geekdomo saying, see ya.
See you later, everybody.